Hello and welcome to Lukmaan IAS. My name is Reghu Ramakrishnan. I am the faculty for GS Foundation and Current Affairs. As you know that Lukmaan IAS has started an integrated test series, the Tucker program, which has generated huge response from the students. So in the backdrop, we have decided to help you with your preparation for the prelims examination. Lukmaan IAS has developed a comprehensive 100 topics program for the prelims examination. So our faculties have chosen the very important areas for your prelims examination by analyzing the past trends of UPSC. So as far as I am concerned, I will be taking your polity constitution part of the syllabus, and we will have the classes oriented towards the most important areas from where the UPSC asks questions, right? So let us first see the nature of questions or the number of questions from polity and constitution that UPSC asks from the past years. On the basis of that, we will analyze the areas from where UPSC picks questions and most of the important areas that we need to study properly. So let us see the trends of the questions. See, we have done almost 10 years of analysis that you can see here from 2012 to 2022. The number of questions, as you see, from 2012, the number of questions from polity section. This polity section includes polity, constitution, both, right? Number of questions 19, and if you go from 12, then it is 15, 14, 12. The 16 year, there is some kind of decline in the number of questions, but after that you see 2018, 15, 17, 22 questions, 19, 15, 14, 16, 15, etc. So on an average, you will be getting at least 15 number of questions. At least 15 number of questions in the polity and constitution. This is the at least one. So if you add some current affairs related with polity and constitution, you will have almost 17 to 18 questions. So 17 to 18 questions means what? A huge number. 18 into 2, it is 36. 36 marks out of 200 is very huge. So this is an area which, as far as PT is concerned, students need to focus very much. In fact, the questions are also very much tricky, but again, conceptual basis is very much important as far as polity and constitution is concerned. So the classes we have designed for you focus on not only the areas that is important, but our purpose will be to develop conceptual understanding for you. So let's go to the next slide. This is something, again, we have tried to represent graphically on the basis of charts that the analysis of questions which we have seen earlier. The polity question trend analysis, you can see that if you see the graph, you see here from 18 to 22, almost, the number of questions are 15 to 16. So very much important as far as polity constitution is concerned, very much important. And if you add the current affairs again, it will be around 18 to 19 questions. As you know, the cutoff of UPSC as of today is hovering around hundreds. 100 marks, 98 marks, 92, 93, this is it. So every mark is important. The questions are getting difficult, the cutoff is getting reduced. Hence, we need to focus upon those areas, those topics very in depth, right? So again, we have analyzed the number of topics, let's say number of subtopics from constitution and polity. Let's see this from here. See this political theory. What is this political theory? From political theory, you are getting almost 10 to 12 questions. Of course, it's a 10-year analysis. Political theory, we will come to that later because we have analyzed what are the core areas of political theory. I'll come to that in a bit while. And you can also see that local government, constitutional and non-constitutional bodies, important ministries, department, laws, policies, scheme, programs, judiciary including high courts, the subordinate judiciary, etc. In fact, this is a very important area. As you know, 24 questions have come. A current development variable in nature, this is what I was trying to tell you. In fact, in 2022, there have been a very few difficult questions dealing with, let's say, advocates, barristers, etc., etc. It seems like UPSC is very much habitual, in fact, very much fond of the legal aspects of the polity. So our sessions, our classes will also be focusing upon these laws and various legal aspects of our examination. A center-state relation, as you know, very important. 15 questions have come. State legislature and the executive. The state level is also very important. Generally, we tend to forget, or let's say don't study the state level legislature and the executive relation and various other aspects. We focus upon the central level, but no, we have to also focus upon the state legislature and executive level. Parliament of India and Union Government, very important. 48 questions have come for the past 10 years. You see that is very important. That is why we have an in-depth dedicated session for the Parliament of India and Union Government. The value premises of term which I have used, it simply means that the preamble, the DPSP, the fundamental duties and fundamental rights, this is what value premises. Again, a very important area. Now let's go to the subtopics. Right, as I was mentioning, the political theory. So what exactly is this political theory? This is something like state, liberty, equality, communism, Gandhism, rule of law, constitutional government. These are some foundational theoretical premises of the constitution, the political framework, etc. We will not be dealing with political theories from a political science optional perspective. That is what we are not supposed to do. We will be dealing with from a general understanding. So we will be trying to develop a general proper understanding, a conceptual based approach towards these various aspects of political theory. As you know that we have questions, like let's say this is a previous year's question. A question was asked about the term state, 2021 preliminary examination question. What exactly this question is about? You see this. 4 options have been given. Which one of the following best defines the term state? A community of persons permanently occupying a definite territory independent of external control and possessing an organized government. B. A politically organized people of a definite territory and possessing an authority to govern them, maintain law and order, protect their natural rights and safeguard their means of sustenance. A number of persons who have been living in a definite territory for a very long time with their own culture, tradition and government. A society permanently living in a definite territory with a central authority, an executive responsible to the central authority and an independent judiciary. Now the question is, what exactly is the meaning of the term state? State is a political concept, a political entity which has four major characteristics. If I am going to draw here, this is state. I will be dividing this state into these 4. One is population, another is sovereignty, and one is territory. The 4th one is government. So this is actually the term state implies. Now the question is, just try to read the options by keeping this definition or understanding of state. A community of persons permanently occupying a definite territory, independent of external control and possessing organized government. And the question is government, yes, government is there. A community of persons, which means population, yes. Definite territory, territory is also there. Independent of external, which means what? Sovereignty. So, this statement has all the 4 ingredients of a state. The question is, you will be only able to answer this question when you know what exactly state is. The options are very difficult. That is what UPSC does. They frame the statement, they frame the options in such a way that students get confused. And there should not be any margin for error. Right? So, our approach of this session, our approach for the polity constitution session, it will be based upon developing the base of you, conceptual basis. Without concepts, you won't be able to answer questions. So, we will be trying to develop your conceptual understanding, especially in the context of these terms like constitutionalism, rule of law, liberty, secularism, communism, Gandhism, etc., which are important. We have chosen these areas because we have analyzed the past year's trends, and we believe that these are the areas which a student should focus upon. So that is the reason we have chosen some areas, some topics which are very much important for your preparation. Now, this is another one. In the context of polity, which one of the following would you accept as the most appropriate definition of liberty? Now, most appropriate definition of liberty in the context of polity. Now, the question is what? Options have been given. Protection against the tyranny of political rulers, absence of restraint, opportunity to do whatever one likes, opportunity to develop oneself fully. Now, you will be getting this confusion of this liberty. What exactly is liberty is? Liberty has meaning depending upon the context in which it is used. In philosophy, the meaning is different. In anarchism, the meaning is different. In spirituality, the meaning is different. In religion, liberty is different. Right? That is the reason UPSC has asked about definition of liberty in the context of what? Polity. In the context of polity, which means in the context of organized government. What is the answer? The answer is the opportunity to develop oneself fully is the correct answer as far as this question is concerned. And now again, liberty is a term, as a concept, a part of the political theory. We also need to understand it properly, right? Now, the value premises of the Constitution. As I mentioned, value premises means the part of the Constitution which have some values which provide guidelines for the government, the administration, and the other instrumentalities of the state. These are value premises. A value means what? Some preferences. So, what are the value premises of the Constitution? The preamble, DPSP, fundamental rights and fundamental duties. You must be remembering that in the initial slide, we have shown that almost 35 questions have come from the last 10 years. Very important area. One example for you here, under the Indian Constitution, concentration of wealth violates what? The concentration of wealth violates right to equality, DPSP, concept of welfare, right to freedom. What is the answer? The concentration of wealth is violating the directive principles of state policy, right? A legislation which confers on the executive or administrative authority an unguided and uncontrolled discretionary power in the matter of the application of law violates which one of the following articles of the Constitution of India? Now, very lengthy, long sentence. It's like a paragraph, right? What exactly it is asking? A legislation which confers on the executive or administrative authority unguided, uncontrolled discretionary power. You know that Article 14 of the Constitution, in theory, Article 14, which is based upon the concept of rule of law, according to Dicey, there is no discretion for what? Discretion for the administration. Because discretion might be leading to the arbitrary action. But the modern conception of rule of law is that, or modern conception of right to equality, or let's say the modern understanding of Article 14 is that discretion needs to be provided to the administration. But the discretion needs to be controlled, limited, restricted, not uncontrolled. Now, the question is unguided and uncontrolled discretionary power. Uncontrolled, unguided discretionary power violates Article 14 of the Constitution. Right? So, answer is A, Article 14. So, again, Article 14 is only two sentences. It provides for equality before law and equal protection of law. But the question is, how will you interpret that? How will you understand what exactly Article 14? How will you understand what is the implication of Article 14? That is what we are trying to do here. We will be trying to develop your concepts and try to make you, try to equip you to apply your understanding to the various types of questions that UPSC asks. Let's move forward. Subtopics for Polity Constitution, Parliament of India and Union Government. As you must be remembering, 48 questions, huge number of questions from this area. So these are some areas, some subtopics under this Parliament of India Union Government that we have chosen on the basis of our analysis. Parliamentary system, procedures, motions, budget, resolution, committees, president, etc. etc. Now, another one sample question for you. Consider the following statements. The Parliament of India can place a particular law in the 9th schedule of the Constitution of India. Yes, Parliament of India can place a law in the 9th schedule of the Constitution of India. Absolutely it can. But the second statement, the validity of a law placed in the 9th schedule cannot be examined by any court and no judgment can be made on it. Which means that Schedule 9 is immune from judicial review. Absolutely wrong. This is a wrong statement because I.R. Coelho case, Supreme Court has said that even if you place the laws in Schedule 9, it will be judged on the basis of basic structure of the Constitution. And those laws which are placed in the Schedule 9 after the commencement of, or let's say after the judgment of Keshava Bharati will be decided, will be judged by the Supreme Court on the basis of basic structure. Hence, this statement is incorrect. So the answer will be what? Only one. And again, state legislature, assembly and council, the legislative assembly and legislative council, wherever they exist, are important. So we'll be having also the important areas from this assembly and council as part of our program. Now, this is a very difficult question. I have taken it from the previous year. With reference to legislative assembly of a state in India, consider the following statements. Statement number 1, the governor makes a customary address to members of the house at the commencement of the first session of the year. Statement number 2, when a state legislature does not have a rule on a particular matter, it follows the Lok Sabha rule on that matter. Now, the first statement might be very easy for you. The governor makes a customary address to members, fine, this is fine. But what about the second statement? Very difficult. Because generally we don't come across such a statement. Even your favorite books might not have this aspect. When a state legislature does not have a rule on a particular matter, it follows the Lok Sabha rule on that matter. It's an absolutely correct statement. It's a very difficult question. We agree with that. But again, this examination, especially PT examination, is also an examination of leaving the question. Which question should leave, which question should attempt. So in this program that we have developed for you, we'll be also telling you which question you should have attempted, which question you should not have attempted. Because there is negative mark. Most of the time students are not able to qualify the examination because they overcommit. They over attempt the answers, and what happens? Because of the piling of negative marks, they are unable to qualify the examination. Right? Let's go further. Again, the local government, an important area, the PANCHSUTRA institutions and urban local bodies. One question for you, local self-government can be best explained as an exercise in, best, federalism, democratic decentralization, administrative delegation and direct democracy. What is the answer? The answer is very simple, provided you understand the essence of local self-government. Right? Democratic decentralization. Center-state relation can be generally divided into three major parts: legislative, administrative and financial. Right? So within those legislative and administrative financial relation, we have developed few important areas for you, and on the basis of that, we will be having our classes and discussion on that. Constitutional and non-constitutional bodies, recently UPSC has been very much inclined towards asking questions on these areas. So a few important constitutional and non-constitutional bodies are also included as part of your program. So Finance Commission, Election Commission of India, Niti Aayog, Attorney General, CSE, etc., etc. So we'll be covering those important areas, important bodies from the part of examination. This is a developing area in the sense that this is a new area the UPSC has been focusing on because a lot of questions have been asked in recent times. So you can say that important ministries, department, laws, policies, schemes and programs are important areas. So we also have developed the areas where the questions are likely to come, and the students should also have a proper grasp on those areas. So we will be having a discussion on these PMO, Cabinet Secretariat, Ministry of Finance, Social Justice, Tribal Affairs, and there are some laws, important laws, which in fact cut across various subjects, like this PISA or let's say FRA and the Forest Rights Act, very important, it's in the news. So you may also include that in the environment aspect. So the legislation, policies, schemes and programs, in fact they cut across various areas, but still we have included that in our polity and constitution areas. So anti-defection law very important. In the previous year, I think 2 questions have been asked. So this is a very important area. A government scheme, as you know, number of questions been asked. Welfare developmental policies, even policies are also being asked. Even draft policies been asked, notification been asked. So we will be covering those important areas. Judiciary, including high court, subordinate courts, etc. So judicial system, judgments, review, impeachment, very important areas. You know that. For few questions, let's say this right to privacy is something which is, we can say that because of the various developments being going on, right from the Puttaswamy judgment and the data protection bill and various other issues dealing with Pegasus, etc. So UPSC has asked this question, right to privacy is protected under which article of the Constitution? Very easy question for you, Article 21 of the Constitution. So current development, as we see, current developments we will be covering the important issues dealing with polity and constitution in the part of current affairs or current developments. So it's variable depending upon the importance of issues. We have selected the areas, and the UPSC also pick up questions from these developing areas. So we'll be also be dealing with this current affairs and current developments. So in fact, these are the topics for the course. We'll be having 10 sessions, right? 10 sessions, we'll be having 10 sessions, and we'll be covering almost all the, in fact, I would say all the important topics as far as polity and constitution is concerned. So this is 25th Jan will be the first class from the polity and constitution. The classes timing will be from 5 to 7:30. Right. So just to give you some information about this, 25th Jan is the first class. So let us build the foundation of the nation. So we are going to build the foundation of not only we, but the foundation of the nation as such, because these are the fundamental aspects of the nation, the constitution. That is why we have used this foundation of the nation. Political theory, as I mentioned, constitutionalism, communism, socialism, etc. will also be taught, and some development in the sense that historical development, historical understanding of the Indian Constitution, various acts, the Regulating Act, Councils Acts, etc., etc., and also the working of Constitutional Assembly. So we'll be dealing with that too, and preamble, liberty, freedom, etc., etc. The preamble significant, whether preamble part of Constitution or not, etc., etc. All these areas will be covered there. Then we'll be dealing with the what we call let us reclaim our rights. So we'll be dealing with the fundamental rights. So fundamental rights are very important, as you know. So fundamental rights, we have given one dedicated session for fundamental rights. So right to equality, freedom, exploitation, all those 6 major groups of rights will be discussed in proper dimension, and writs are very important. We will be also covering them, and effecting fundamental rights, the present position of right to property. Right to property is a grey area because students might generally they tend to become uncomfortable with the right to property, and UPSC has already asked about right to property, and this is a very important area, so we'll be covering that too. And exceptions, as you know, there are exceptions to fundamental rights, so we'll be also covering that. Then the social revolution and social obligation. Social revolution in the sense that Granville Austin called the DPSP as the instrument for social revolution, as you know. So we'll be having the DPSP and also fundamental duties, because duties are like obligations. So, right. So we'll be also dealing with fundamental duties. These days, fundamental duties are are having a lot of importance in the political discourse. In fact, the government of India has been taking several steps for making citizens to understand the fundamental duties and encouraging them to carry out these duties. In fact, there are even public interest litigation being filed in the Supreme Court dealing with the fundamental duties. So fundamental duties are important areas, so we'll be dealing with that too. Welcome to the Temple of Democracy. Yes, Temple of Democracy is the Parliament of India at the central level. Yes, Temple of Democracy. So Parliament, very important. We have given one dedicated session to that. Features of parliamentary government, organization, membership, etc., etc. So we'll be covering comprehensively these areas. Next, yes, we'll be coming to the executive, which means the government of India. So we are all executives. So we'll be dealing with the union government, the president, the impeachment, powers and functions, the vice president, prime minister, pardoning power, very important pardoning power, especially in the context of the Perari-Valan case and various other issues dealing with the remission. So we expect a few questions on these areas. The elephant in the room, in the sense that the center-state relation is a very important area. Center-state relation, very important. As you know, that governor is always in the news. So center-state relation also we have given one dedicated session to it. The legislative, administrative, financial, interstate water dispute, interstate council, national emergency, etc., will be discussed here. Meet the guarantee of our rights, which means the judiciary will be dealing with the judicial system, appointment of Supreme Court judges and the collegium. Collegium is very important, as you know, that a lot of things are being happening dealing with collegium. The law minister statement, the retired chief justices have also been speaking about collegium. In fact, there have been developments like the high court associations of various states, including Telangana, Gujarat, even Tamil Nadu, etc., have complained with respect to transfers of some judges from their respective high courts. So collegium system is very important. So, and also various different mechanisms like alternative dispute resolution and various other instrumentalities for justice delivery like Lok Adalat, permanent Lok Adalat, family courts, Gram Nyayalaya, etc. These are very important. In fact, questions have already been asked on these areas and we expect questions on this also. So we'll be dealing with them. And amendment procedures, as you know, important case law, this is an area we have chosen because there are a lot of important development, important cases have been decided recently. As you know, the EWS, the demonetization and various other cases dealing with the powers of governor with respect to remission, etc. So we expect one or two questions on this. So that is the reason we have chosen this very important case laws. Bottom of perspective grassroots, which means that the state government and the local body is very important. So we'll be having a dedicated session on these two, state government and local bodies. Now, this is something, let us all be lawyers, barristers and prosecutors. It's something a rhetoric statement or rhetorical line. As you know that in 2022, UPSC asked one question about the difference between advocates, barristers and whatnot. And well, that's something a student of UPSC may not be able to know. In fact, teachers also don't teach those areas. But again, as I mentioned, that there are questions which should attempt and there are questions which should have left. We'll also be dealing with that aspect also. But important laws, very important. Laws, the legal aspects UPSC is being focusing on, not only on PT, but also in mains examination. If you see the 2022 mains examination paper, GS2, a lot of questions been asked. In fact, specifically asking you to mention, refer, write about case laws, etc. So very important. Representative People's Act, very important. This is a very important area as far as PT and mains is concerned. The RPA, defection law, office of profit, yes, PESA and laws in news. This laws in news area is current affairs. We have a lot of different laws. For instance, I'll tell you some example of this multi-state cooperative society and the draft data protection bill. So there are multiple laws, multiple draft bills, etc. important. So important ministries, departments, institutions. Yes, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Home Affairs, etc., etc. Very important. And a new ministry has been established, Ministry of Cooperation. So we'll also be dealing with the Ministry of Cooperation. Flagship schemes, policies, programs, yes, definitely. We'll be also dealing with that, all the important policy schemes and important issues in polity. So important issues in polity are dealing with the current affairs aspect. We'll be discussing them also. Last but not the least, so we'll be dealing with constitutional bodies, the Election Commission of India, Finance Commission. CAG is an important area. We expect question on that. GST Council also, yes. In one case of the Supreme Court, in what is that case? Mohit Minerals case in Supreme Court has said that the recommendation of GST Council is not binding, so which has also created some challenges to the function of GST Council. So we'll also be dealing with the function of GST Council, a constitutional aspect, the legal aspect, etc. And statutory and executive bodies, NHRC, SHRC, CVC, etc. are important. So NHRC is an area recently has been in the news, so we expect UPSC to pick up NHRC and to ask questions on this. All the services and central services, again, this is also important. So if you see the demarcation of the topics here that we have chosen for your program, for the classes, all the important areas on the basis of the analysis of the previous years and our own understanding of the mentality of the way UPSC thinks, we have chosen the important areas for polity and constitution. So we will be covering these important areas in 10 sessions. We will be proceeding first by giving you a conceptual understanding of the areas, and next we will be discussing on the basis of that the previous questions, and also then we will be having various multiple choice questions in the class so that you can solve it, right. So the fundamental building block of this program might be, in fact I would say the fundamental building block of this program is to develop your conceptual understanding, because concept is the basis of clearing the examination. So my job will be to help you develop that conceptual understanding, and also to help you to apply that conceptual understanding to the real life questions. We will be taking the help of the UPSC previous question papers, as well as we will be giving you various questions so that you can solve it in the class, and we will discuss that. This is how we proceed, right? I hope you will find this program very enriching and also very much rewarded. So the first class will be on Jan 25, 2023. In fact, we have also completed the Geography and Environment batch. And as far as I am concerned, Reghu Ramakrishnan, GS Foundation faculty of Lukmaan IAS, I will be taking Polity and Constitution, right? So hope to see you. All the best. Thank you so much.
The first step towards achieving your dreams is having the right coach. Get the best education with Lukmaan IAS and make your UPSC dreams come true. Download the app now.